guys about my makeup look for today. I did go on a date with my boyfriend today, so I actually like washed my hair and everything because we're still not able to hang out at his house, so we went out on a date. We went to like one of our favorite delis. It's just amazing. Their food is so good. And then we went on the boardwalk there, and then we went and got ice cream, so it was really nice. We actually go where he grew up, and they have like one of the best delis on the whole island and like some of the best ice cream. It's just so good. So it's like a summer destination that people go to because that's like how well known they are. I actually didn't wear makeup yesterday, but I did finish 2 books yesterday. So that's great. So I primed my eyes with the Colourpop Party Proof Primer, and then I used the Pokemon Pokeball, and then I set my eyes with the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Powder. And then for my eyeshadow palette today, I just went into the Colourpop in the Springs palette. This palette, I swear, it's such amazing quality. I don't find that Colourpop's eyeshadow quality is as good as this was anymore. Like, even though there's some really, really great shades in some of their newer palettes, this year was probably their best quality that they came out with when it comes to, like, their eyeshadow palettes. Like, every eyeshadow palette that I purchased when this palette came out, or, like, previous palettes that came out that year, were their best quality by far. Like, the Limoncello palette, this one, the Plush Like Me, the Or Kid You Not, those are, like, top tier all-time favorite Colourpop palettes for me. So I went into Sizzlin' in the crease, then I darkened up the crease more with Palms Away, and then I used Chino on the outer corners, and then for the lid I used Private Event, and then for the inner corners I used Prick Me. I swear that's still one of my all-time favorite shimmery. This is like one of the best Super Shock shadows in a palette. Usually, like, I'm not a fan of them in the palettes, but this one is just so ridiculously sparkly and beautiful. I love it so much. It's just such a good shade. I love this palette. But I wanted to use it at least one more time before the summer is coming to an end. It's like another couple of weeks, but pretty much like for me, fall starts like in September. I really hate when people say, oh my god, it's fall already in August. I'm like, no, it's not. It's really not. Like, fall can start in September, but August? Are you serious? I'm like, it's still hot as fuck. So, but today actually was like a perfect day to go to Long Beach, and it was really, really nice. So, and then for my waterline, I just went into my cream gel liner from Colourpop in the shade Prance, and I really like how my earrings matched with like the little stars and then the moon and the peace sign on my necklace and then the crescent moon on my bracelet when I'm wearing like this star and moon shirt. It's just really cute. I thought it looked cute. And then I went into my Essence Lash Primer, and then I went into the Cali Ray mascara on the top lashes and the Maybelline Lash Discovery on the bottom lashes, and then I primed my face with the Tower 28 SOS spray and the e.l.f. Liquid Poreless Putty Primer. And then for my foundation, I went into the Laura Mercier Real Flawless Weightless Perfecting Foundation in the shade 1C1 Cool Vanille. And then for my concealer, I used the Laura Mercier one as well. I just wanted something lightweight, but also something that looked nice. So this is the coinciding concealer in the shade 0N1, and then I set my under eyes with the Pat McGrath Labs powder, and then I set my face with the Colourpop Pretty Fresh powder again. And then for my bronzer, I went into the House Labs bronzer in the shade Light Level 1. And then for my blush, I went into the Colourpop Wild Nothing blush in the shade Wayfarer. Yeah, this one's just so beautiful. I haven't used it in a hot second, so I was like, let me use it today. And it's just such a perfect peach shade. And then for my highlight, I've been using this highlight so much this summer, but I always use it in the summer a lot. I just went in with Flip Flop by Colourpop, which is also from the In the Springs collection, the Palm Springs collection. And this is still one of my favorite collections they've ever done. And then I set my face with the Milk Makeup Setting Spray, and then I set my brows with the Essence brow gel. And then for my lips, I went into the Desi and Katie Dose of Colors collab lipstick in the shade Hey Girl. It's a little bit more pinkish on camera, but it just looks really pretty in person. So that's a really old lipstick, but it's an oldie but a goodie. These are like probably my 2 all-time favorite lipsticks. What's Your Sign by Kathleen Lights and Desi and Katie's lipstick with Dose of Colors. I love how they're both YouTube collab lipsticks from YouTubers, but they just know how to make amazing makeup. So, sorry, not sorry. So, that's everything as far as my makeup goes. And as far as a reading update goes, I did finish 15 Summers Later last night by Rianne Thane. I actually finished it around like 8:30, and I loved that book. That was a 5-star for me. It was just so good. Like, throughout the entire book, I was just in awe of how good the writing was. I really love her writing, and I think I loved this even more than Mary Kay Andrews' Summers at the Saint, but also, like, this was pretty much like my last summer read that I had. So I'm actually really happy that I finished all the summer books that I wanted to get to, like my physical books. I didn't really have that many, but I still finished all of them, so that was great. And I loved it. I thought it was really good. And then I also did finish my audiobook, the 4th book in the Boys of Tommen series, which is Redeeming Six. So I finished that literally like 20 minutes after I finished 15 Summers Later, because I only had like less than 20 minutes left. So I was like, let me just finish it, and it was so good. That is like a 6-star series for me. I might even love it more than Magnolia Parks, because each book has been 5 stars for me. There hasn't been one book that I'm like, I don't feel any less, what do you call it? Of a 5-star feeling from those books, because they're all amazing. So I just loved it so much. So I actually started Taming 7 today. I redeemed my Audible credit for September for Taming 7, so I started that earlier today. And that is Gibbsy and Claire's story. And I'm liking it so far. There's a lot of mixed reviews about that one, so we'll see how it goes. But I think I'm still going to really like it. I don't know if I'm going to love it as much as the other ones, but I still am really liking it so far. So, and then I also, because today's literally the last day of August, I'm just going to finish the book that I was literally in the middle of on Kindle, because I haven't really been using my Kindle as much this month and last month, but I am 70% into The Grandest Game by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and that is the spin-off book of the Inheritance Games series, and I did read the Inheritance Games back in April. So this is the spin-off book, and I actually did buy this when it came out, and I've been reading it throughout the month, like every time I go to the beach, or every time I have like a spare moment when I don't have a book that I'm able to bring with me if I hang out with friends and stuff, or if I have like a spare moment to read on my Kindle, then I usually bring my Kindle with me to the beach a lot. But I got pretty far into it, so now I'm on page 258, so I should be able to finish this tonight to be able to make this the last book that I read this month. I only have 2 hours left, so I should definitely be able to finish that tonight. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm hoping to film my wrap-up tomorrow, and then after I finish The Grandest Game, I didn't even think about that I'm literally reading 2 books that have game in the title. I didn't even think about that until right now. So I'm going to go into The Wishing Game as my first book in September. This has been on my TBR for a couple of months at this point. And originally I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to read Shatter Me. But I'm like, I was kind of feeling a tiny bit reading slumpish today and last night. Like after I finished 15 Summers Later, I was like, I really don't feel like reading anymore. But I think it was just because I read like 200 pages yesterday. I'm like, that was a lot. I did read a ton this week, like of the books that I was reading, like Summers at the Saint. I read 200 pages in one day, and then the same thing with 15 Summers Later yesterday, just so I could finish it. But also, I really loved that book, but I also wanted that to be the last physical book that I read this month. But yeah, I'm gonna go into the Wishing Game tomorrow, September 1st. This is going to be the first book that I read in September, and I'm really excited for this one. And also, it's super short, so it should take me like maybe 2 days tops to finish this. But also, like, I just wanted to pick something a little bit shorter right now because for some reason, like, in the beginnings of the month, I feel a little reading slumpish because I always get intimidated by my TBR for the months. And as soon as like the month starts, I feel like I have read no books. And I'm like, what are you talking about, Caitlin? Just because it's a new month doesn't mean you've read haven't read 100 books this year or over 100 books. But I'm like, wait, I've read like nothing. Now I have to read all these books for the next month but I always feel like it starts at 0 every time the month starts. And then I'm like, oh my God, I have to read like 20 books in order to say I've read anything. And I'm like, but what are you talking about? You've read over 100 books this year. So, but it just gets a little bit overwhelming at the beginning of the month because it always gets like difficult to choose what I want to read first. But I wanted to go with the Wishing Game, and that was the one that I really wanted to read anyway. First, I'm like, let me just go with what I initially thought I should read first. You just really need to trust your gut and instinct sometimes about like which books you want to start with because your brain is telling you that for a reason. It's like, Caitlin, start with this one. But you make it like it's such a big deal, but it kind of is because it's the way you want to spend your time. Like, you don't exactly want to waste your time reading a bad book. So, that's how I think of it. So, but I'm feeling really confident about this TBR this month. I think I'm going to have a lot of bangers this month because I have some really good books that I really want to get to this month. So I'm really excited for that one. I was thinking about saving it for the end of the month because it's literally the shortest book that I have on my TBR. It's only 278 pages. But I'm like, you know what? If I'm feeling reading slumpish now, I don't want to read a long book. I'm like, let me just read something short and easy, and let me just take my time with reading. I don't always have to finish every book in like 2 days. So I just need to pace myself a little bit more. But also, like, the Grandest Game is not that great. So I think that's why I didn't feel like reading, because I don't really like this book that much. And I'm like, I don't even feel like reading it. But at the same time, like, I'm so close to finishing it. And also, I did pay for it. So it's like, and I'm already too far into it in order to be able to return it on Kindle. I'm like 70% in. I think you can't return it after like being like 70% or more into a book. But also, like, I'm not just going to DNF it at this point. I only have less, like 100 pages left. So I should be able to bang that out tonight. So yeah. That's it. Bye. Okay, so hey there, guys. I just want to tell you guys about my makeup look for today. So I did go to the Labor Day barbecue that I usually go to every single year at my friend's house, like literally 5 minutes away from me. So, and my best friend is basically part of this group now as well. Like, he's part of our beach group and Lisa's backyard group, and like basically whatever like events that we do together, they like love him, so they always want him to come to everything. So I didn't really have time to say my makeup look before I left, and also I was filming my sorry, that was a very weird sounding bug that I just heard. But anyway, my room is such a mess. But anyway, So I primed my eyes with the Colourpop Party Proof Primer, and then I used the Clarins Lip Oil, and then I set my eyes with the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Powder. And then for my eyeshadow palette today, I decided to use the Harry Potter palette by Colourpop. They're actually discontinuing this collection finally, and I'm surprised on how long it actually stayed around. I think it stayed around for like a good 2 years, and they finally put everything on like super sale. But even though I'm not a huge fan of J.K. Rowling anymore, I do think that this palette is still fantastic quality. And I actually think that this palette, I actually forgot that I had 2 palettes that were in this format because I have the Pokemon one as well. I actually completely forgot that this was the only other bigger palette that I have from Colourpop besides the So Jaded one by Kathleen Lights. But this quality in this is superior to the quality in this one because this was like the same amazing non-powdery formula that I was used to from Colourpop, and I feel like especially this year that they're, besides the Golden Hour palette, which is still my favorite palette that I got from them this year, and I think that that's their best palette that they've done, and the 1111 palette, but all the collab palettes that I've gotten, like the Beauty and the Beast one and the Pokemon one, they're not really great quality. So, but honestly, I really have not purchased too many eyeshadow palettes this year. I think I've still purchased less than 10. I think I've only gotten the Nomad Stargazing one, the Color Mom, what? The Colourpop Pokemon, the Colourpop Beauty and the Beast, the 1111, the Golden Hour palette, the Cold Moon, and the Groovy Garden by Ensley Rain, and I think that's it. I really can't remember any other palettes that I purchased this year besides those 7. So I can't believe I've only purchased 7 eyeshadow palettes this year. I usually am like up to 15 by this point, but that's what happens when you get obsessed with books, is that you end up just buying books instead. So anyway, I went into Marauder's Map in the crease. Then I darkened up the crease more with Sorting Hat. I just used it on the defining area and on the outer corners because I kind of forgot to use this shade, so I just used Sorting Hat. And I mixed a little bit of Elder Wand in. And then for my lid, I just went in with Nimbus 2000 all over the lid, but I probably should have just used Lumos, but I just used Lumos on the inner corners anyway. I still love this shade so much. These 2 shades are so phenomenally bright on the inner corners. I love those so much. But that's everything that I use. I only used like 4 or 5 shades, honestly, which is typically what I use anyway. And then I just used Brighter Days from Blend Money on the brow bone. And then I used the Makeup by Mario liner in the shade, I think it's Soft Brown on the waterline. And then I just went in with the Colourpop Lengthening Mascara on the top and bottom lashes. And then I primed my face with the Tower 28 SOS spray and the e.l.f. Liquid Poreless Putty Primer. And then for my foundation and concealer, I just went into the Cali Ray Free Dreaming Skin Wellness Diffusing Tint. I've used this so much this summer because this has been so good for like the hot summer days where I'm out at the beach or I'm outside for a while. And this one's the shade The One. I'm trying to speak softly because my whole family is sleeping. And then for my concealer, I went into the Kulfi Concealer in the shade Bad Batum. And then I set my under eyes with the House Labs powder. And then I set my face with the Colourpop Pretty Fresh powder again. And then for my bronzer, I think I just went into the Makeup by Mario bronzer in the shade Light. I've just been reaching for this a little bit more often because I've been wanting to use it a bit more. And then for my blush, I just went into my Blend Money Cosmetics palette, the Bare Cheeks palette, and I just took the Just a Touch blush, which is this one right here. I just wanted to use a really natural one because I really could care less what I was using for my blush today because I was just hanging out in their backyard all day. And it was great. It was such a good time. I love going there. And then I went into the Harry Potter highlighter in the shade Buckbeak. It's just a really beautiful, like, cool tone highlight. Also because it was, like, a little bit cooler today, and I'm kind of, like, feeling a bit of the fall vibes right now. I'm, like I said, I'm not one of those bitches that are like, oh my god, it's fall, because it's not, but it did feel a little bit cool. But it was still very humid today, so it was kind of a perfect day to have a barbecue. We were so worried it was gonna rain though. But it kind of just drizzled and then just passed over our area. And then right after it got like super cloudy and drizzly, then the sun came out, and the sun was out for like 3 hours, and it was perfect. I was like, oh my god, the sun is out. We can go in the pool now. It was amazing. And then for my lips, I just went into the Summer Fridays Lip Butter Balm, which is like one of my go-tos if I just don't really feel like looking for another lippy. Why are my feet so itchy right now? My feet get so irritated when I go out in the sun. I don't know if this is TMI, but whatever. And then that's everything as far as my makeup goes. And then as far as a reading update goes, I did finish The Grandest Game yesterday, because I knew that was the last book that I was going to be able to finish in August. And also I was like over 200 pages into it. So I finished it last night. I think I read like 150 pages yesterday still, but I read it on my Kindle. So it's just so much easier to read on your Kindle, and you read so much faster. I only had like less than 3 hours left in the book though, but I still read 150 pages yesterday. So, but I really didn't like it that much. Honestly, it didn't really add anything to the original Inheritance Games series. And honestly, some of the dialogue was pretty stupid. And honestly, I didn't really care about any of the characters in this book, so I only gave it a 2.75 out of 5 stars. But the only reason why I enjoy reading the Inheritance Games series is because Jennifer Lynn Barnes really does make her books incredibly fast-paced. But other than that, it was pretty bad, so I didn't really like it. So he can't win them all. So that was the last book that I finished in August, and then I told you guys I was going to start the Wishing Game, so that's what I ended up going with today. I was like, I think I just want to go with my original instinct, and I just wanted to start at this book. To start this book, I mean, can I speak? And I'm on page 103, so I did get through the first 100 pages already today. This is like an incredibly fast, easy read. It's only 278 pages, like I said, and so far I am really enjoying it. I think that this is better than The Lost Story. I'm already more invested in this because it's like such a cool concept where basically this well-known children's author has written like 50 books, and like his books are like, they're basically like Harry Potter, where like he writes like one children's book and it sells like 10 million copies. Like, that's insane. Like, that is unheard of when it comes to an author in real life. And basically he stopped writing for quite a while. Like, he hasn't written in like 10 years. Like, no one had even heard about him. He like basically became a recluse. And then all of a sudden, it's like kind of very similar to Willy Wonka. And what I like about this is that she compares this story to Willy Wonka, but it wasn't like flat out a carbon copy or trying to be like Willy Wonka. It's just kind of like inspired by it. But like The Lost Story was trying too hard to be like a Chronicles of Narnia story. Like, she literally said that she was super influenced by C.S. Lewis' Chronicles of Narnia in that story, but that one didn't really work for me. With this, he sends out invitations for people to compete to get a copy of his new book. So he decided to write a new book, but this is the only copy in existence. Like, literally the person who gets who wins this competition will get this book, and it's the only copy in existence. So I just think it's such a cool concept, and so far I've been really liking it. I am really enjoying this more than The Lost Story. So I'm really intrigued to finish this. I think I'll finish it by tomorrow. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye. Okay, so hey there guys, just wanted to tell you guys about my makeup look for today. It's not too late right now, it's like 9:45 at night. I just didn't feel like filming the clip of my makeup earlier. I mean, I just took a clip of it, but yeah. So I just went to Barnes& Noble today because I think I told you guys that I wanted to exchange 2 books. The other book I did like more than the other book that I was just straight up returning. So I took back Happiness for Beginners by Catherine Center. Even though I do love her books, I don't know if I have the need to actually own all of them, or maybe I will go and like order them all on Amazon at some point. It's just that my mom keeps on making it such a big deal when I order from Amazon. And then literally once I stopped ordering from Amazon because she says that they damage our gate like literally every time they come to our house. Literally, she has ordered like 3 things from Amazon after I stopped ordering from them. She's like, you really shouldn't be ordering from them anymore. Why are you supporting them? I'm like, are you kidding me? And then she goes and orders 3 things right after she told me to stop ordering from them. So I guess I will just pick it up from a hub somewhere, or I think I can pick it up from Whole Foods if I decide to order any more books, because anything I do, it's always my fault if I do something. So anyway, I primed my eyes with the Colourpop Party Proof Primer, and then I used the Pokemon Pokeball, and then I set my eyes with the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Powder. I just went to Barnes & Noble, and I just got a smoothie from Tropical Smoothie, and that's all I did today, because I actually had to go to, because the Barnes & Noble here is not going to be open until the end of September. But I am going to be so freaking happy when it actually opens, because I might actually apply there to work. Maybe that'll just be my holiday job at this point. Or I can at least work there on the weekends and maybe get a real job like 9 to 5 during the week. Because I would be ecstatic to work there, but at the same time, like, it might be dangerous because I would spend my whole paycheck on books. But that would be the reason why I would work there and get another job, because then I could just spend my Barnes & Noble paycheck on books. But we'll see. But honestly, I feel like it's going to be dangerous when that place opens right near me. I feel like I'm going to be there all the time. Like, at least 3 times a week, most likely. I'm not even going to go to Target anymore. I'll probably just get the Barnes & Noble membership, since I'm going to be 5 minutes away now. But anyway, so I took back Happiness for Beginners, and I took back Beautiful Villain by Rebecca Kenny, because I didn't really like that book. As beautiful as the cover and the sprayed edges were, I'm like, I had no desire to keep it. It wasn't very good. So I went and exchanged them for 2 other books, and then also a new book that I'm literally going to start tonight. I actually just finished a book, so I'll tell you guys about that at the end. So then for my eyeshadow palette, I went into the Blend Bunny Cosmetics All Done Up palette. I just really wanted to use this palette because I actually haven't used it in a hot second. I kind of almost forgot about this palette. I knew that I had it, I just kept on forgetting to use it. So then I was like, you know what? I really do need to whip out this palette and use it again, and I love this palette so much. So I went into Transform in the crease, and then I just used Goddess on the defining area and also the outer corners, because these shades down here are so damn pigmented that you can use them on the defining area and the outer corners and you're good to go. They're so beautiful. And then for my lid, I wanted to use the shade Starlit, so I went in with that all over the lid. And these shimmers are so insanely beautiful. They are so shimmery, so wet and metallic. I absolutely love them. And then for my brow bone, I went into Knockout, which is that pure white matte shade. And then for my inner corners, I used Centerfold. So that's what I went in with from the palette today for my eyeshadow. And then for my waterline, I just used the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in the shade Limitless Brown. And then for my mascara, I just went into the Colourpop Lengthening Mascara on the top and bottom lashes. And then for my face, I went into the Tower 28 SOS Spray and the Say Star Glow Super Gel Primer. And then for my tinted moisturizer, I went into the Rare Beauty Positive Light Tinted Moisturizer in the shade 10N. I feel like my skin is a little bit irritated again, though. I think that's why I've been skipping makeup more often than usual for the past, like, couple of months, is because I get, like, red, a little bit red after I wear, like, certain foundations or whatever, or I've worn foundation more than, like, 2 or 3 days in a row. Sometimes I like to give my skin a break and also my eyes a break because it can irritate your skin after a while. So, and since I have such sensitive skin, that's why. So, but I did wear makeup Saturday and Sunday, and I did have a really good weekend. So tonight I just wanted to come home and finish my book. So, and then for my concealer, I just went into the Lancome Teint Idol Ultra Wear All Over Concealer in the shade Ivory. And then I set my under eyes with my Rare Beauty powder because I wanted to whip out a new powder today and use it again. It's not exactly new. I just have been using the House Labs powder like for months now. I wanted to change it up and use something different, so I wanted to use the Rare Beauty one. And then I set my face with the Colourpop Pretty Fresh powder. And then for my bronzer, I just went into the Milani Dolce bronzer. And then for my blush, I just used MAC Margin from my single blush palette. I just didn't feel like digging for anything today. And then for my highlight, I went into my Rare Beauty highlighter just because I can literally never get enough of these. They are so fantastic. So I went into the shade Exhilarate. It's such a stunning, like, goldish highlighter. I absolutely love these highlighters. I really hope that she comes out with new shades at some point, because honestly, I would buy every single one. Like, this is, like, literally probably my favorite highlighter formula that Sephora has ever carried. They're just amazing. And then I set my face with the Tower 28 spray again, and then I set my brows with the Essence Brow Gel. And then for my lips, I just went into, I think I brought it with me. I went into, where is it? Where did it go? Oh, here it is. I just went into my Tower 28 lip balm. I knew I was going to use this a ton after I picked it up, so I went into the Tower 28 Lip Softy Tinted Lip Treatment in the shade Dolce de Leche, and that's everything I use as far as my makeup goes. And then as far as a reading update goes, I did finish The Wishing Game by Meg Schaffer. Is that how you say her name? I think that's how you say her name. And that was a very popular book last year, and I finally got to it and read it, and it only took me like a day and a half to read it. I think I read like 115 pages yesterday, and today I read like 160. So I read quite a lot today, but it was, like I said, it was a really short book. I gave it but I wanted to take a little bit of time with it. I didn't want to finish it all in one day. You know, I just wanted to do other things besides read, like watch some YouTube, you know, and have a social life. And I gave it a 3.75 out of 5 stars. I did like this quite a bit more than The Lost Story. I really did not like The Lost Story that much. It was okay, but this one I definitely liked more. I would recommend this to somebody who was interested in it. I would be like, yeah, it's a good book. It was just such a unique, cool concept that I'd be like, yeah, it just sounded like such a cool concept to me. And I'm glad that I finally read it, because I've had it, I think, since like June at least. So I'm glad I finally got to it, and I don't regret reading it. I really liked it. It definitely had its moments, and also she is such a good writer because there's so many good quotes that she writes that I'm always like all in awe on how well written they are and how much impact they have on me, because some of them are so true and so realistic and so relatable. But there are some parts of her writing or some lines of her dialogue that sometimes I don't really understand why they are in the books that she writes, because it kind of makes it hard to understand what audience her books are for. Like, I wouldn't really classify her books as necessarily being YA. I would say probably 17, 18 plus, honestly, because there are some lines in it that are a little bit sexual. And I'm just like, what is this doing in this story? That's what I don't understand. It's like sometimes like you can be humor, like how Disney is always teetering on the edge of like making it funny for the adult but funny for the kid. That's like the genius of Disney's writing, is that they make it fun for the adult when the adult takes their kids to see a movie. So anyway, I feel like it's too bluntly done in order to be appropriate for like a kid to read. You know what I mean? Because like it seems like it's very innocent in the concept because it sounds like it's gonna be like for kids, but also I feel like she does do a good job of making it appealing to someone older like me or an adult that wants to read this. I think an adult would still enjoy this book. But like there's like a line where she's like eating like a really good meal and she like moans, and then she says to the person after she like makes this really like, oh God, it's so good. She was like, sorry, that was a little bit pornographic. And I was like, what is this doing in this book? Like, I don't know if I said this yesterday, but that's what I don't really understand about her writing, because like it kind of messes up the flow of her really good writing. I'm like, these lines don't need to be in here. I think that's like kind of the editor's fault a little bit. Maybe the editor should have been like, oh, maybe you should have just said, sorry, that was a little inappropriate. Like that, you have to change like one word. So I felt like that with The Lost Story too, but I still enjoy her writing. But it is funny that both books kind of were similar. And obviously, like, when you read, like, just one author's work, they're going to have similarities, obviously, from book to book. But it's still, like, these were, she's only written 2 books, and I've read both of them. And I've found that both of them made me uncomfortable at certain points. So, but I still really liked it. I really liked the concept of this one. I liked that it was inspired by Willy Wonka, but this book really got me to think, so I did really enjoy it. I forgot to grab the book that I was going to tell you guys that I'm going to start. So my Barnes & Noble had this one a day early. Maybe they had it yesterday. I don't know, but I wasn't able to get there until today. And I'm going to be reading Primetime Romance by Kate Robb. So I got this early today, and I'm super excited. It comes out tomorrow, but I can't wait to start this. I absolutely loved This Spells Love. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, and that was her debut romance. I think she's written other books in the past. I'm not really sure. Or maybe that was her only book, but I absolutely adored that book. I ate it up. So I am super excited to read this. This is definitely one of my most anticipated romance reads for the year. Even though I only just found out about this one like maybe 2 months ago. So I don't think it was in my most anticipated reads for the year when I filmed that like a few months back. But I'm super excited for this. I literally can't wait. I love her magical realism. I feel like her writing is perfect for people that love Ashley Poston, because Ashley Poston also does magical realism. So I feel like you can't go wrong with Kate Robb. But I don't feel like This Spells Love is as popular as like 7 Year Slip. So I feel like you could give Kate Robb a chance. But I'm super excited to read this. I haven't I think I just read the first paragraph and I'm already so excited. I literally can't wait. So, and then the other two books that I picked up were books 2 and 3 of the Assassin's Apprentice series. It has like a different name. It's like a saga trilogy. So I picked up Royal Assassin and Assassin's Quest. I just didn't feel like grabbing them, by Robin Hobb, I believe his name is. And I exchanged those two books that I told you guys about to get those two, and then also this one. So super excited to read these, but I'm definitely going to read this one. I don't know when I'm going to get those other two because I have to read the first one first. But yeah. So yeah, bye. Okay, so hey there guys, I wanted to tell you guys about my makeup look for today. So I did work tonight. I only had to work 4 hours, so it was pretty nice that I didn't have to work any later than that. I didn't have to be in until like 4:30, so that was pretty nice. So I primed my eyes. Excuse me, hold on. Dying here. With my, I think I just used the Colourpop Party Proof Primer. I think I just didn't even want to use the other one, the Anastasia one, so I just used the Colourpop one, and then I went in with the Clarins Lip Oil, and then I set my eyes with the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Powder. And then for my eyeshadow palette today, I haven't used this in a hot second, so I went into the Clarity Cosmetics Coffee Shop palette, or I Love Coffee palette. I thought it was called the Coffee Shop palette. And I wanted to use a few shades from this. The shimmers in here are literally insanely amazing. They're so beautiful. It's the mattes that I have a little bit of issues with. They're super pigmented, but they have a lot of kick up. And also they are just quite powdery. So it kind of like makes some of the shades like not really blend that well. But they're still super pigmented. They just find them to be a little bit dusty. So I went into Cappuccino in the crease, and the crease shade is always fine. It's always like the defining shade that I try to go into. It kind of like will not blend properly above my lid, and then I'll end up having to go into like a much deeper shade. But I actually ended up liking it even more after I made it more smoky. I was like, you know, it's kind of more of like a smoky eye. So I originally went into Espresso, but it just wasn't quite deep enough to blend properly. I mean, it was actually. It was deep enough to be a defining shade, but for some reason I always have that issue. I think it was mostly this shade, because that would be like the darkest shade I would go into anyway in my defining area, and pretty much like, I don't know. I haven't used this in a while, but I don't know why it doesn't work properly. And then for my outer corners, I went into Decaf Please, but I ended up having to go over this shade with this shade in the defining area. So I ended up going over it with that, and then I darkened it up. I darkened up the outer corners with I Like My Coffee Black, which is pretty much almost a black shade. It's not a pure black, it's like a dark brownish black. And then for my lid, I went into Caramel Cream Frap, which is just such a beautiful like bronzy shimmer. And then for my highlight, I used Whipped Cream. And then for my inner corners, I used Iced Coffee, and this shade is so pigmented too. It's like insanely pigmented, so I don't want to keep on touching the shadows. I feel like I keep on getting shadow on my fingers. And then I went into the Makeup by Mario liner in the shade Soft Brown, and then I set my... No, I went into the Essence Lash Primer, and then I went into the Lancome Hypnose Mascara on the top lashes, and the Maybelline Lash Discovery on the bottom lashes. I was like kind of doing this to remember what I used. And then I went into the Tower 28 SOS Spray and the e.l.f. Liquid Poreless Putty Primer. I still have not filmed my makeup haul yet. I filmed my book haul, but my makeup haul, it's all still sitting here. Because I either like don't wear makeup some days and I'd much rather not be filming. I'd much rather be reading, or I'm just filming book videos without makeup on. So Anyway, and then I went into the Makeup Forever HD Skin Undetectable Stay True Foundation in the shade 1RO2. And then I went into the Coinciding Concealer. I feel like I'm almost running out of this in the shade 1.1N. This is one of my favorite concealers, though. I think that this is so good. So I think I'm going to use this up and the Colfie one, and I will probably end up repurchasing both of them because as I've gotten older, I really have been enjoying these type of like more liquidy, lightweight concealers that have really good coverage. So I'm not really into like the super heavy duty coverage anymore. Not that I really have those types of concealers, but as I've gotten older, I like the more lightweight ones that have quite a bit of coverage to them, but they're still so comfortable to wear. And then I set my under eyes with Pat McGrath Labs powder, and then I set my face with the Colourpop Pretty Fresh powder. And then for my bronzer, I went into the Pat McGrath Labs bronzer, Can I Speak, in the shade Naked Desire. And then for my blush, what did I use for blush today? It's literally right in front of me. I used the, whoops. It's literally right in front of me. I used the Blush Color Infusion blush by Laura Mercier in the shade Bellini. So I wanted to use that today. And then for my highlight, I went into the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes one because I haven't used this in a hot second. I just love the packaging literally so much. It's just so adorable. But honestly, like, I think that this is the last thing I've actually gotten from Glamlight. Like I've said before, I am just so over their brand at this point, just being like a collab brand. Like basically it's makeup merch. When people were getting so mad at Colourpop for making, when they do collabs, and now that's all that Glamlight does. But whatever. And then I set my face with the Milk Makeup Setting Spray, and then I set my brows with the Essence Wow Brow. And then for my lips, I went into a lipstick. And then I guess I'll show you guys the two books I picked up. From Marc Jacobs, I used the Marc Jacobs new Nude Sheer Gel Lipstick in the shade Anais. Anais. I don't even know how to say it. Anais. It's Anais. I don't know how to pronounce it. Sorry. And you can't even get these anymore because these were part of like his really old line. But I love this lipstick. I got this at like Marshall's like a couple of years back, and it's still a pretty good lipstick. So that's everything as far as my makeup goes. And as far as the reading update goes, I did start Primetime Romance last night by Kate Robb, and now I'm pretty much like almost halfway through. I'm on page like 145. And I am enjoying it so far. But I'm kind of agreeing with some people that pretty much after maybe like the first 100 pages, there's not really much romance going on. Like there's not really enough chemistry between the two main characters. But I'm enjoying it. I think it's funny, but honestly, like it's getting a little bit flat. Not exactly boring because I'm still intrigued by the story and I think it's very funny. But like the first like 100 pages, I was laughing so hard. But I read some reviews about it and people were saying that it starts to kind of like, you know, it's not really enough romance. Like it's kind of lacking. And even though this is like, I don't know, like a slow burn, I guess. But it's not really any build-up because there's really no chemistry between the two of them. So that's like the most important thing in a slow burn or even in any romance book is that there has to be chemistry between the two main characters. Like, that's why you read a romance novel. So, but I'm still enjoying it. I think it's very funny. But we'll see how it goes. Like, I'm still really enjoying it. I still really enjoy her writing. I'm probably going to read every book that she comes out with. I think it's very funny. But I feel like, you know, I just don't feel enough tension between the two main characters so far. But I still like it. But I'm actually glad that I found this at my Barnes& and Noble yesterday because, again, they had it early yesterday because they actually didn't have this at my Target. So I'm like, okay, because I went there right after work to pick up the other new book that I wanted to get because Barnes& and Noble didn't have this early, but it's okay because literally it wasn't supposed to come out until today anyway. But actually, I ended up getting 2 new releases today. I mean, I knew I was going to get this one, but these Primetime Romance and the next 2 books I'm going to show you all came out today, September 3rd. And I feel like September 3rd is like literally like the start of reading season. Like it's been crispy out. It's been crispy. So it's been pretty cold. So the first book that I picked up, and I knew I was going to get this, was Matt Haig's The Life Impossible, and this is literally going to be my next read right after I finish Primetime Romance. I am so excited for this one, and I knew I was going to add this to my TBR for this month, and like I said, I haven't even read one of Matt Haig's books this year, and I love his writing so much. He's literally the author that got me into reading again. I've read 3 of his books so far, and I absolutely adore his writing, so I'm super excited for this one. And this hardcover is really nice. It's super small, and it's like so easy to hold because it's not like a heavyweight hardcover. So excited for that. And then the other one that I got, which is a pretty significant hardcover, but I didn't even know about this book. But the synopsis just sounded so intriguing and interesting. So this is called The Games Gods Play by Abigail Owen. Look how cool this cover is, but look at these sprayed edges. Like, how pretty, right? And I'm so glad that, like, authors are, like, really putting, like, the effort into, like, these sprayed edges now. Like, they pretty much come out in, like, special edition, and I absolutely love it. But the synopsis just sounded so cool. I think it's about, well, it's about the Greek gods, but also it concentrates on Hades. But I've been really wanting to get into some, like, Greek mythology or Roman mythology type of fantasy books because I actually haven't read any yet, and I absolutely love Greek and Roman mythology. I've always had a love for it, but for some reason I just haven't gotten to these types of books yet, or these types of fantasy books, I mean. So I think I might read this very soon because I kind of want to read. I am working on a video right now of finding my next star read, or this video won't end until I find my next 5-star, or until we find a 5-star, but I'm almost thinking that I might change it to reading new releases and just continue to read Primetime Romance, then read Life Impossible, and then possibly read this. But I really just do want to continue with my finding a 5-star read video because I already have the books picked out for that, and I already started filming that today. So I think I'm going to wait on this one. I might read this next week though, but I really just want to stick with the books that I picked out for that video because I'm actually like, those were the books that I was the most excited to read or start the month with. So yeah, but that's it. But this book sounds so good. And it was just too beautiful not to pick up. And it just sounds so cool. She'll fight for her life for the god of death. Like, it sounds like another trial for me for Hades. And honestly, I'm all about that. So yeah, that's it. Bye. Okay, so hey there guys, I just wanted to tell you guys about my makeup look for today. I went to go see my best friend. I was actually originally supposed to see my boyfriend, but plans ended up kind of not happening, so I went to the mall with my best friend. And we actually didn't really buy much. I also got this shirt at Lucky yesterday because I just thought it was hilarious. Gummies, the sweetest way to get high. And also this shirt is so comfy. I love their shirts so much. They're so comfy. Even though I said that already. I don't know why I'm saying it again. But anyway, So I primed my eyes with the Anastasia eye primer, and then I used Clarins lip oil, and then I set my eyes with the Urban Decay Pressed Powder. I love how I looked like I was going to say something, and then I was like, no, I'm just going to go into my makeup look. But we went to the mall, and we went to Barnes, and I ended up not buying any books, actually, because I already bought books on Monday and Tuesday. Like, I did buy 3 books at Barnes & Noble on Monday, and then Tuesday I bought 2 books at Target. So I'm like, I really didn't feel like buying any books today. So I just looked, but I think I'm going to put myself on a book buying ban right now until Nothing Like the Movies comes out by Lynn Painter, and when my Barnes and Noble opens up near me, because I feel like once that opens up, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to have some restraint, but at the same time, like, I don't know, I can't say anything, but also like I'm gonna want to buy like a couple of books there, just depending on what selection they have. But I pretty much own all the books right now that I want to own. But I'm also going to the Huntington bookstore on Monday in my town with my mom to actually get rid of quite a few books because they actually buy books that you don't want to keep, or they also take donations. So, but I would want to look at some of the used books there because I do buy a lot of used books there. So we will see. But most likely not unless I have time to look when my mom is going through her books that she wants to sell, because I only have like 13 books that I'm getting rid of that I've been building up in my bag to sell to this bookstore, because I have been slowly decluttering some that I just don't feel the need to keep. I actually took 2 books out and put them back on my shelves because I wanted to keep those, and then took 2 books that I didn't want to keep because I don't think I'm ever going to read them. And I actually gave them 3 unread books. The rest were read. They were just ones I felt like I didn't need to keep, but then there's 3 that I actually am giving them, well, trying to sell to them, that actually I don't think I'm going to read them. Which before I really just wanted to give them books that were read that I didn't really like that much, or I didn't really want to give them unread books because I wanted to give those books a shot or finish them to see whether or not I wanted to keep them. But then I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to read them. So now I feel a bit lighter, so that's why I did buy a few books lately, but now I'm pretty much good. We'll see what the bookstore has next Monday, but other than that, I'm good. I went on a whole tangent. So anyway, and then for my eyeshadow palettes, I actually combined these 2 palettes from Disney Colourpop collections. I used the Disney It's a Princess Thing palette and the Midnight Masquerade palette. So I took 3 shades from this one because I wore my Princess and the Frog shirt, so I wanted to use both of the Princess and the Frog shades from both palettes, and I think it looked really pretty. So I went into Encanto in the crease, and then I used Quasimodo on the outer corners, and then I used Mama Odie all over the lid from this one. So I've actually used this palette twice in the past 2 weeks. I still love this palette so much. This one is like top quality from Colourpop. I love it. And I also love this one as well. I knew I heard a dog barking earlier. And it's literally 12:30 at night. So ridiculous. Our dogs never bark this late. They go to sleep. It's like insane how these people like keep their dogs outside. Like we would never. Like that, I think that is criminal, keeping your dog outside. Honestly. Unless it's during the day. But like at night, let them sleep in your house. Like what the fuck? And then for my defining shade, I used a Boo from this palette. And then I used Chip on the brow bone. And then for my inner corners, I used Ray. So I used 3 shades from each. I love this palette. You can see I have well loved this palette over the years because some of these shimmers are some of the most spectacular shimmers that Colourpop has ever done. They're so metallic and so beautiful and so wet looking. They almost look like a wet, like liquid shadow on your lid. And then for my waterline, I used the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in the shade Black. And then I went into the Essence Lash Primer. And then I went into, I don't remember what mascara I used. I think I used the Tarte Tartelette Tubing one. And then I used the Maybelline Lash Scrub in the bottom lashes. And I primed my face with the Tower 20 SOS Spray and the e.l.f. Liquid Poreless Putty Primer. And then for my foundation and concealer, I wanted to use a bit more full coverage one, so I went into the Glossier one in the shade Very Light. This is the Stretch Fluid Foundation. I still love this foundation. It's so freaking good. And then for my concealer, I went into the Urban Decay Quickie Concealer, Naked Quickie Concealer in the shade 10NN. Then I set my under eyes with Pat McGrath Labs powder, and then I set my face with the Urban Decay pressed powder again, sorry. And then for my bronzer, I went into the House Labs bronzer in the shade Light Level 1. I'm pretty tired. And I'm getting like such shit sleep still, so we'll see tonight. And then for my blush, I went into the Belle Blush by Colourpop in the shade Enchanted Rose, also from the Midnight Masquerade collection. And then for my highlight, I just wanted to use my good old Blend Bunny Noctilucent palette. And then I went into the shade Enlighten right here. I actually have plans every day this week. It's this shade right here. Sorry if you couldn't see. It's like my light is so bright. I actually have plans like pretty much every day this week. Of course, I went from having like really no plans the week I was sick, which honestly was better off for me, to not that many plans last week either. I think I had 2 or 3 days of plans last week, and I worked 2 days, so like it was kind of better that I had like 2 days to myself last week because I had a little bit more plans. But then this week, I have plans every day. All the way up, I think, until next Saturday. So I actually have plans a lot the next like week and a half. So, but it's a lot of like end of summer plans. So, because it's actually been really cool the past couple of days. So it's kind of felt like fall. So like I said, as soon as September hits, it definitely feels like fall weather. But then like sometimes it'll get like really hot again, like in the middle of September. But the first week of September has been like fall weather. And then I set my face with the Milk Makeup Setting Spray, and then I set my brows with the Essence Brow Gel. And then for my lips, I just went into the Half Magic Beauty lip liner duo. I love this lip liner duo so much. I've used the crap out of this since I've gotten it. And I used the shade Ballerino. Still waiting for Euphoria to come back, but there was a lot of stuff that happened. But I love how people complain about other shows, like being like waiting 2 years. Oh my god, I'm watching Debbie live. She just put on this mint green lippy. Oh my god. And then for my lippy, I went into Urban Decay's Lip Balm Bond in the shade Safe Word. I love that one. So that's everything as far as my makeup goes. And then as far as a reading update goes, I did finish Prime Time, can I speak, Romance by Kate Robb last night. I just binged it last night. I read like 100 and something pages last night, but I think by the time I got into bed, I was like up to page over 200 already, and then I just binged the last like 100 pages. It took me like 2 hours. And I didn't really love that book. It was cute. But like I said before, I think I said this yesterday, I need to lower this light. It's like too bright. The chemistry was just lacking between the two main characters, and the romance was like pretty much came out of nowhere, and I felt like the romance was very rushed. And then it's kind of like, oh, it's over. Like, I don't know, just like the second half of the book was not as good as the first half. So I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. That was my first book that I was including in finding my next 5-star read video. I think I'm going to call it that because I'm not going to call it this video ends when I find a 5-star read, because I don't know if this book that I'm reading now or the third book I'm going to go into to like most likely Friday, because I think I'm going to finish this book tomorrow. But I think this one's going to take me 2 full days. So the next book that I went into is Matt Haig's new release called The Life Impossible. And I think I said this 2 days ago when I was reading Primetime Romance, but I picked this up at my Target last night because, like I said, Primetime Romance and The Life Impossible both came out on the same day, and they're two of like my really favorite authors, but Matt Haig is definitely like one of my top favorite authors of all time so far since I started reading again. Like I said, like he's the author that got me into reading. I love his work so much. So I'm on page 136. So I'm almost halfway through this one. I think I only have like another 20 pages, and then I can make my halfway update on my 5-star video. I love how I'm saying this one. That's probably going to be up before this Everyday Makeup Lookbook video. But I'm really liking this so far. This one's taking me a bit longer to read and to get through the pages, but honestly, like, I don't mind taking my time reading his writing because I feel like he doesn't waste time writing every single word. And that is like such a rarity with some authors. Like sometimes like they can waste a lot of time, or they can put a lot of filler in just to like fill the pages, and you can get a little bored. It took like maybe 30 pages into this for me to be really intrigued, but I feel like if I'm not intrigued by like 30 pages in, then it's like not going to be a great book for me. But sometimes books can surprise me and they can get really good halfway through and then have a great ending. But with Matt Haig, it's like it takes 30 pages and then you're just it feels like you're reading a nonfiction book, but it's a fiction with like magical realism and fantasy. And I just love his writing so much. But like nobody writes like him. He has such a unique voice in the writing industry. And The Midnight Library has sold 9 million copies. That's insane. But I also feel like that's his biggest selling book, and I feel like nobody reads the rest of his books. But his backlist is incredible. I love his books so much. So I am trying to work on reading his entire backlist because I really do want to read all of his books. I think I only have 4 or 5 more, but this is also the only book that I've read from him this year. I just didn't get to any of his other books this year, and now I'm like, why did I stop? Because as soon as I read his writing again, I'm just like amazed on how beautiful his writing is. I'm taking constant pictures of quotes of his writing and even pictures of like entire pages because the chapters are so short. They're only like 2 to 3 pages long, but like you want to take your time reading the writing because it's just so beautiful and it flows so well. But also like it's just so different from like anybody else I've read. I don't know how to explain it. I just feel like his books appeal to like so many people. And I want to get like so many of my friends to read his books because I just love his writing so much. So yeah, I'm enjoying this a lot so far. I don't know if it's a 5-star, but it's definitely giving me 4.5 vibes so far. But like I kind of feel like with his books, I'll either know like right away or I have to read the whole book in order for me to really judge my rating of his books, because sometimes I don't know because I'm just so intrigued that it's like I'm not really thinking about the rating. I'm just like reading his beautiful writing. So yeah, that's it. Bye. And I did pick up another new release that came out yesterday at Target. And it came out the same day as this and Primetime Romance. So 3 new releases came out September 3rd. I think another one did too. But I ended up not picking up that one because I wanted to pick up this one and that other new release. It's so beautiful. And I might read that sooner rather than later because it sounds so interesting. And I might do another 5-star prediction video again with that book and like 3 other books that I predict will be 5-star. So yeah, that's it. Bye. Okay, so hey there guys. I want to tell you guys about my makeup look for today. So I did work earlier today. I just had another closing shift, so I was just there from 4:30 to like 8:30, so it really wasn't a big deal. And I got to meet the new store manager today, and she was really, really nice actually. It was really chill to work with her, and she was just really easy and stuff. She didn't really tell me to do anything, so I just kind of did my own thing, but she was very nice, very talkative, and it was a good time. Um, so yeah, I primed my eyes with, and I did like a really fall look today. I wanted to say it when I got home, but my family wanted to watch the next episode in Only Murders in the Building. We love that show. It's on Hulu with Steve Martin and Martin Short and Selena Gomez. They're all just so freaking funny together. I just love Martin Short and Steve Martin so much. They're just like genius comics, and I just think they're hilarious and timeless. But, you know, it's such a big show on Hulu. But yeah, we watch it as soon as it comes out usually. And then me and my mom actually watched an episode of the Simone Biles documentary. Because, you know, we're Simone Biles family. We love her so much. And it was really interesting to watch what she went through before the Paris Olympics and what happened in the Tokyo Olympics. She's just freaking amazing. She's such a badass. I love her so much. And she's such a hero to so many people. So, but that's because she needed to become like her own hero first. And then she needs to worry about everybody else. Sorry, my friend is texting me. So anyway, I primed my eyes with the Anastasia eye primer, and then I used the Clarins lip oil, and then I set my eyes with the, I think I used the Dior powder, the Backstage one. I did do quite a bit of reading today, though. But then I just wanted to, like, relax in front of the TV for a little while, because, like, I just end up reading every single night, but, like, I'm trying to stay out of my bedroom a little bit more. Maybe that'll help me, like, wind down at night. But even when I do that, sometimes I still don't sleep anyway. So I've just been sleeping like shit still. And then for my eyeshadow palette, I went into the Colourpop Wine and Only. And I used a few shades from this one because, again, I really wanted to wear this, like, new red shirt that I got from Lucky, like, last week. So I went in to null it over in the crease. And it was still, like, kind of cooler out today. But then, of course, I'm going to the beach tomorrow. Like, sometimes I'll, like, wear one, like, fallish outfit. And then I'll be like, oh, it's still summer. And then I'll wear, like, summer stuff. Or, like, new stuff that I bought for the summer that I just want to wear one more time before, like, the summer's over. And then, like, I'll want to wear fall makeup, like, the first day it's, like, cold out. But, like, it's been, like, pretty cool this week, like I said. So I wanted to do, like, one fall look at least and wear one fall, like, kind of outfit. And then I went into Vinter to darken up the crease. And then for the outer corners, I used the glittery shade. I probably should have reversed it, but it just looked so pretty. So this shade is Grateful. And then for the lid, I used Play to Vibe, and I swear this is one of their best palettes they've ever done. It's so pigmented. And I love the Midnight Masquerade palette that I used yesterday. And what was the other one that I used? That was one of their best palettes. I've just been kind of like going through my favorite Colourpop palettes, but and wearing them this week. And then for my inner corners, I used Blanc, which is that really pretty like rose gold goldeny shade. And then I went into the Essence Lash Primer, and then I used the Makeup Forever black liner, and then I just used my Ami Collet mascara on the top lashes, and then of course the Maybelline Lash Discovery on the bottom lashes. I might need to get another one soon. I think it's getting dried out a little bit. And then I primed my face, of course, with the Tower 28 SOS spray and the e.l.f. Liquid Poreless Putty Primer. I was thinking about getting like a couple new eyeshadow palettes. Sorry about this like pimple here. It's annoying, but that's literally the only pimple that I really have right now. It just started like today, so sorry about that. It's just, I hate when people like apologize for things on YouTube videos. It's just, you know, pimples are a little gross, so just like telling you it's just a pimple. But anyway, there's just like so many palettes that I've skipped over because I'm like, oh, I'm intrigued, but at the same time, it's like I don't really wear makeup as much as I used to anymore. Just because I much rather be reading and I'd much rather be buying new books. I actually walked out of Barnes and Noble yesterday. I think I said that I didn't buy any books yesterday because, like I said, I bought books on Monday and Tuesday, and they were new releases that I wanted to read like sooner rather than later. But yeah, I just have all the books that I possibly would want to read for like the rest of the year pretty much. And if a new release comes out, I'm just going to read it on Kindle. I'm not going to buy the physical copy, which I only have like a few new releases for but not until the end of October. Well, the middle of September, Nothing Like the Movies comes out, and then the end of October, it's Throne of Secrets, and then in November, there's actually 2 big fantasy releases that I'm really excited for. But besides that, I'm probably going to actually buy the physical copies of Nothing Like the Movies and Sky Shade, which is the 3rd book in, or Skyscape. Is it called Sky? I can never remember the name. It's the 3rd book in the Alex Astor Lightlark series, and I'm super excited for that. I'm definitely buying that one because I already own the first 2, and I really love the covers of those. And I think it's a better trilogy than Powerless. But Powerless, the first book, was a 5-star for me, but the other 2 were not very good. I liked Powerful more than Reckless. I thought Reckless was a pretty big disappointment. And then the other one is the next book in the Serpents of the Wings of Night series. I don't think it's part of that series, but, or maybe it's the 3rd book. I'm not really sure, but I'm super excited for that one, and that comes out in November. Why did I go off on such a tangent? Okay, I just cannot stop talking about books. So, and then I went into the Dior Forever Skin Glow Foundation in the shade 00. I really hate, I feel like Dior and, what is it? Dior and Makeup Forever are like the 2 brands that constantly rebrand their foundations. And I start to get really sick of it. I'm like, this one is good. It's a good foundation. But the one that they had previously, before they reformulated it again, I think it was the Nude Dior Star Forever. I think that's what it was called. That was like my favorite foundation that I ever used from then. And of course, the Airspray one. I think they still have the Airspray one. Because if they discontinued that one, I think people would riot. Because that foundation is fantastic. I probably will pick up a new foundation during the VIP sale but I'm not going to go crazy, but I'll see what I want to get. But if there's not like a new foundation I'm really interested in, I would just get the Airspray, or I'll get the Valentino one again, because they reformulated that one. But that one was different because a lot of people complained that it broke them out. But I used that foundation up like completely. I also used up the Dior Star Forever one too. I used up that one completely because I loved that one so much. But this one's good, but then they reformulated them again, and I'm like, how many times are you going to reformulate? And then Makeup Forever, as soon as I fell in love with the Makeup Forever, I forget what it's called, the one that I wear all the time, I love it so much, then they reformulated it again. And I'm like, what's the point of falling in love with a foundation that you can't get anymore? It's like really annoying sometimes. And then I went into the Wet n Wild Incognito concealer in the shade Fair. And also I don't like that Makeup Forever names it the same thing. Or it's just like a different version of an HD foundation. At least for Dior kind of changes up the name, but it's still like so annoying. I hate when they do that. And then I went into the Pat McGrath Labs setting powder, of course, to set my under eyes. And I set my face with the Dior's Backstage powder again. And then for my bronzer, I went into the Marc Jacobs bronzer in the shade Tantric, which I love this one. I haven't used it in a little while. And then for my blush, I didn't want to use something too red, so I went into my Colourpop blush from the, I don't even remember what this collection was called. Was it the Into Bloom collection? They do not have this collection available anymore, but it was one of their best fall collections that they ever did. I keep on reminiscing on all the Colourpop great collections because now it's like snooze fest for me. They haven't really come out with anything that I really have been inspired to buy since the Pokemon collection. So, and this is the shade Chase. I don't even know how to say this one, but it's such a beautiful peach shade. And then for my highlight, for some reason I was thinking about using this one. So I used this one. I haven't used it in a hot second. I just used a couple of Marc Jacobs ones. I didn't even realize that I used both of these today. I'm like, duh, Caitlin. This is like a very old highlighter from Marc Jacobs. I also got this one from Marshall's like a while back. This is 7-9 Guilty. It's a little bit too dark for me sometimes, so I did use a fan brush. It is a little bit too gold for me, but when I use a fan brush, I can get away with it. And then I set my face with the Milk Makeup Setting Spray, and then I set my brows with the Colourpop. No, the Essence Brow Gel. Why do I always forget? And then for my lips, I went into the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil. Oh my god, I'm like dropping everything. The shade Anywhere Caffeine. And then for my lips, oh my god, why am I fucking dropping everything? Jesus Christ. For my lips, I went into the Colourpop older lipstick from the It's a Princess Thing collection, and this is the shade Belle. I've had this shade for so long, but it's such a pretty like rosy dark pink. I love this shade, and it's not like too like over the top. It's just such a perfect like, you know, bolder color, but it's still a really good, like it's not as like as bold of a statement when I like wear like more dramatic eyeshadow. And then I really do need to get my nails done again, but the design has lasted so long that I just love this so much, but I'm starting to get a little sick of it, so I need to get my nails done like next week. But it lasted so long. So that's everything as far as my makeup goes, and then as far as a reading update goes, I'm still reading Matt Haig's The Life Impossible. I'm on page 264, so I am hoping to finish it tonight. I only have 56 pages left, but we will see. I should be able to finish it, though. I'm just going to go take a shower and then get right into bed and bang it out. It should only take me like an hour or so, depending on how sleepy I am. But I've already read like 100 pages today. And it's still really, really good. I'm still really enjoying it. I think I'm still getting 4.25, 4.5 vibes from it. I'm still really loving it. I don't know if this is going to be necessarily a 5-star though, but we will see. And then I'm not really going to have that much reading time tomorrow because I am going to the beach again, but this is like going to be our last beach day. And like I said, I went into a fall look today and wore a fall outfit. It wasn't like too hot though, because it was just like a new long sleeve shirt that I got from Lucky, and then I just wore jeans and flats. I didn't want to go too over the top because I didn't want to be like sweating at work. And also it was still like 75 degrees, but then it dropped to like 65 at night. But anyway, of course, then we're going to the beach when I'm going to like still think it's summer. But yeah, I'm just going to bring my Kindle with me, and it depends on what I'm going to be able to read there because I'm probably going to talk to my friend quite a bit. Usually the only time I can read at the beach is if I go with my other friend and it's just the two of us. We read a lot. And then my other friend's sister, I went with her a couple weeks back, and we read a lot. So there's going to be I don't know how many people are going tomorrow. I think it's only going to be like 4 or 5 of us. But still, like, I'm going to talk to my other friend a lot. So I don't know. I might start Assistant to the Villain at the beach because I really do want to start that on my Kindle. But tomorrow night, I will let you guys know which book I go into next. I think it's going to be Just Last Night by Mari McFarlane. I was going to do Lovely War, but since I don't have that much reading time this weekend, it'll be easier for me to finish that book by like Sunday night. But since Friday is going to be lost reading time, I wish I had Spotify Premium again so I could start listening to a book that I own, but I have to wait another 3 days before I get listening hours back, but should be able to start that book tomorrow night. But yeah, I won't have that many reading updates tomorrow. I'm probably just going to listen to Taming 7 a lot tomorrow because obviously that's the audiobook I'm listening to, so I'm still reading that book, and we'll still finish that book by next week. So it's not like it's a waste if I get to listen to that book, because I'm still reading a book that was on my TBR for this month. So yeah, that's it. Bye. Okay, so hey there guys, wanted to tell you guys about my makeup look for today. So I just went to the beach today, and I didn't really want to wear too much makeup because literally every time I wear eyeshadow when I go to the beach, it is like so windy that by the time I leave the beach, my eyeshadow has like worn off. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna wear eyeshadow this time. I'm just gonna wear a lid shade and that's it. I originally was not even gonna wear eyeshadow, but then I was like, I'm just gonna throw on like a shimmer shade on the lid and that's it. Because at least I can just wear something on my lid. So there's been like a couple of times where I've went to the beach, maybe once or twice, where it hasn't worn off because it hasn't been as windy on those days. But then some of the other days that it's like super windy, it just like completely comes off. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not looking like a dumbass again with like, it's like so crusty, and then like this part of it like completely wears off. So it's like my crease and my lid looks like so dumb because there's like a huge gap here. So I'm like, I'm not dealing with that again. And I only do that like if I go to like my friend Chris's house after. If I'm going back to have a barbecue, like I'll try and like wipe it off, but it's like it's just no point. Like I try to like smear it off with my finger, but I'm like, yeah, forget it. So I just went in with my Tower 20 SOS spray, and then the e.l.f. Liquid Poreless Putty Primer, and then I used the Tower 28 Sunny Days Broad Spectrum SPF 25 sunscreen, tinted sunscreen, in the shade Fairfax, and then I used the coinciding concealer in the shade BH. And also, I saw that Tower 28 came out with a setting powder, and if there's one brand that I try everything from, it's Tower 28, and now I really want to try the setting powder. I just love their products so much, and I think that's the one line that I've tried every single product, because they make fantastic products. If they come out with an eyeshadow palette, I'm buying it because I love their products so much. And then I set my under eyes with the Rare Beauty powder, and also my actual eyes because I just put concealer on, so I thought I was just wearing concealer, and then I put on a lid shade. And then I just threw on Urban Decay's Single Shadow in the shade Midnight Cowboy. That's all I did. I'm like, you know what? Let me just use a single shadow, and this was so pretty. I haven't used this in so long, and I was like, you know what? This is perfect. And then I just used my face highlight on my inner corners, but I'll go over that in a minute after I tell you guys what I used for the rest of my makeup. And then I used the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in the shade Limitless Brown on my waterline, and then I just used the Colourpop Lengthening Mascara on the top and bottom lashes. And then for my bronzer, I just went into the Colourpop Matte Bronzer in the shade Alviva Beach. And then for my blush, I just went into the Lunar Has It blush by Colourpop and Kathleen Lights, one of my favorites. And then for my highlight, I just went into Colourpop Seismic. I love this highlighter so much. It's just like one of their best highlighters ever. I can't believe they got rid of this one. It's just fantastic. It's just so blinding. So I just used this as my face highlight and my inner corner highlight, and that's everything that I did for my eyes. It was just so simple. And then I just set my face with the Milk Makeup Setting Spray, and then I set my brows with the Essence Brow Gel. And then for my lips, I just went into a Colourpop lipstick. I just used the Luxe lipstick in the shade Layover, which is such a pretty nude, and I've used this like countless times. I'm just smelling to see if it's okay, and it's totally fine. That's everything I did as far as my makeup goes. And then as far as a reading update goes, I did finish The Life Impossible by Matt Haig last night. It took me a minute, but I finished it, and I really did enjoy it. I wouldn't say it was a 5 star. I gave it like a 4, 4.5. I think I settled on a 4.25. Not a, did I say 4.5? A 4 or 4.25, but I think I went with a 4.25. It was still very good. I really enjoy his writing. I just think it was a little bit too much into like over explaining, like just to teach us something when it's like I kind of enjoy, like I love his writing so much, but when I read his like more fantasy stories, I kind of just want the escape of reading his fantasy, and that's why I love the Radleys in Midnight Library so much. I even feel like How to Stop Time had a better balance of doing that. I feel like with this there was a little bit too much, but it was just explained in such a fun way, but sometimes it's not very easy to get through, like, and to read. Like sometimes you just want to it's not like it's heavy, it's just a lot of information, but he portrays it in such a great way. But sometimes it's like, okay, can we like get to the end now, But it was still really good. I really enjoyed it. I don't know what that blue light is. What is that? Oh, that's my computer, you dumbass. So then, I think I told you guys I was gonna go into Just Last Night by Mihari McFarlane. I don't know why I can't say her name. Because like I said, I kind of needed something a little bit lighter after I finished the Life Impossible, and I didn't really want to go into Lovely War after that. And also, like I said, I wasn't going to have that much reading time today, so I'm only on page 44. I'm hoping to get up to like page 90 or 100 tonight, hopefully. That's only another like 50 pages. It's not like it's that much. And I am loving this so far. This is fucking hysterical. I am crying laughing. I literally have to stop and put the book down. And I feel like that's why I haven't got through that much, but also like I wasn't able to read until like I only read, at least I started this morning because I got like 18 pages in because of course I couldn't fall asleep because what else is new? And then, of course, the only time that I felt myself drifting off, and why is it that the only time you feel yourself actually drifting off is right before your fucking alarm goes off? That's why I can't speak lately, because I like barely sleep anymore. But why is it only when your alarm goes off? Every time. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, I literally felt my eyelids closing to actually fall asleep for once. And it was like 5 minutes before my alarm goes off. I was like, I couldn't get like a half hour or like an hour or something, like a nap, maybe. Nope. But anyway, I literally like need to put this down and have to like process and laugh so hard from what I'm reading. It's just so funny. I didn't expect it to be this funny because I was already enjoying it because I was really loving the writing already. But this is fucking hysterical. Like, I literally have to put it down because I can't stop crying laughing. I'm having such a great time. I'm hoping this is a 5 star because I'm just smiling the whole time. So I feel like you just get that feeling, but also at the same time, like, I just started it. But we'll see. After I get 100 pages in, I think I'll have a better feel. So yeah, that's it. So I do have plans tomorrow too. I'm actually seeing my best friend because we're finally seeing each other to celebrate our birthdays because I had to cancel on him last week because I had my Apple interview that day. So he was like, yeah, Saturday works great. But I actually didn't realize that I had to drive to like 3 separate towns this weekend that aren't that close to me because today I had to drive out to the beach, which is Robert Moses, which is like 30 minutes away from me. And then tomorrow I have to drive to Long Beach, which is like 35 minutes away from me. And then on Sunday, I have to drive to Babylon, which is like 20 minutes away from me, which is closer. But that's like, it's a lot of driving, but I'm glad I have some good plans with great friends this weekend. So it's been a really good weekend. And yeah, that's really it. Bye.